Hello everyone, welcome back to .NET Core Central. Today I'm going to explore using Memcached in .NET Core. Memcached is in-memory distributed cache. It's an open source product and it's free to use, and it's one of the most popular distributed cache out there, along with Redis. Redis is probably the most popular, and then the next one is probably Memcached. So to start with, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to install Memcache, and for that I'm just going to install it in a Docker container. I'm just going to pull the image. And you can see the Memcached is installed. The next thing to do is to create or run the image. The default port where it exposes the TCP calls is 11211. That's the port number. So what I'm going to do is when I run the image or run the container, I'm going to ensure that the port 11211 of the container is mapped to my local host, so that I can access the port from outside the container. And I can see the container is created, and also the port is the localhost port 11211 is mapped to the Docker port or the container port. I can do telnet just to see if it installed properly. And as you can see, I could telnet into the container, so it's installed, and I can run a command stats. And it is showing the stats of the Memcache. Next thing I'm going to do is create a Visual Studio Console application and access the Memcached distributed cache from there and add some data and pull some data. Here I just created one node for the Memcached, but in production environment or production scenario we'll probably have multiple node, and the cache is distributed across multiple nodes for failover. So for this one I'm using Visual Studio 2019. And I'm going to name this project as Memcached demo. So it looks like the project is created. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Memcached NuGet package as well as the Microsoft.Extension.Dependency injection and Microsoft.Extension.Logging. And I'm going to use the Memcached core. That's the one which supports the .NET Standard 2.0. Okay, now that all the NuGet packages are installed, I'll go ahead and create my first class, which will be cache provider, and then the next class will be cache repository. Cache provider will be used for getting the cache out of Memcached, and cache repository for saving the cache. Now I could directly use the IMemcached client to do those, but the only reason I will abstract this out is in future if I just want to go to Redis instead of Memcached, then my entire application will not have to change. It's just these two classes which have to change to use the appropriate cache provider. For this demo purposes or this demo application, it was not needed, but I just wanted to follow a better design just to show how we should do it even in a production scale application. As you can see, this is a very simple implementation, but here I would probably have try catch the exception, log it, and handle it appropriately. But for this demo purpose, this is good enough. for this demo purpose, I'm just keeping the expiry time as 1 minute, but the expiry time could be, passed from the application. There will be scenario where you would want to set it not to expire, and based on application logic, you would want to go and delete the cache. But there will be some scenarios where you might want to keep default expiry. So here for the demo purpose, I'm just keeping it a minute. Now that both get and set are created, next thing to do is to create a container configuration and wire everything up. So as usual, I'm first creating the service collection object, then I will configure all the services in the application, and then finally I'll return the service provider, which I'll use in the program.cs to get access to the iCache provider and iCache repository to set and get the cache out. So first thing I'm going to do is add the logging. And then the Memcached also provides extension to the service collection to add the Memcached. So I'm just going to use that. So here all I did is call the AddEnyimMemcached method, which is provided by the Memcache of the Memcached provider, and in the server I added my server, which is the local host, and the port 11211. After this is done, I'm just going to go ahead and add the cache provider and cache repository into the service collection. And after this is done, I'm finally going to return the service provider from this class. Next thing I'm going to do is in the main function I will call the configure method of the container configuration class, get the service provider, and then use it to get the iCache provider and iCache repository to set and get cache from the Memcached. Now I'm going to run the application. As you can see, it has got the cache from the Memcached, the fast cache value, and it's working as expected. The next thing I can do is I can wait here for a minute, which is what I have given as cache expiry. Yeah, the cache expiry is a minute. So what I can do is in here I can sleep for a minute and try to access the cache, and it should return me empty. So here I'm going to change it. It is currently 60 minutes. Instead of that, I'm going to just set it as 1 minute so that I can test the expiry after a minute. I should have probably kept only 30 seconds. This 1 minute looks like an eternity. So as it is printing, this is my first tryout with Memcached. I think it was really smooth installing it in Docker. Yeah, the response is out and we can see that the cache has expired. We are not getting any value from the cache, which is expected. So in conclusion, I think it's like, to me it felt like it's really smooth to get started with Memcached. It's just a couple of line of Docker command and then just installing the Memcached NuGet package and get going. It cannot be easier than this. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you want to provide any comments or suggestions, please provide comment in my video. I'll also provide link to my blog where you can get access to the source code as well. Thanks for watching.